Next on the program, we've got Colin van Niekerk, but I would like his son Angus to come introduce him, please.
Thanks, Henry. Good morning, everyone. It's difficult introducing my dad. Please excuse me, there's probably an element of bias in this introduction as a result. My dad's been farming all his life. I think what's always struck me is that he's never seen farming as a job. He's genuinely passionate about it, and often rare in other commercial aspects. So that's always struck me. I'm going to be brief. I don't want to take away from his talk, but he's the best farmer I know, and I've seen a few now. He's the best man I know, and together with my brother and my mom, they run a pretty good show at Monterey. So please join me in welcoming Colin and Colin van Niekerk.
Good morning, everyone. Let's try again. This is my first visit to the Walram Pen. I'm very appreciative of being invited here by the MPO to share our farming journey with you guys today. What you guys don't know is that Carl and I paid Fani and Don to talk a little longer. So our slot has been reduced to 15 minutes.
You can have some of mine.
So there are two parts to this presentation. I took the easy route and just going to talk to you guys about our journey, and I've left the actual farming stuff to Carl to do. And thank you, Carl, for joining me here today. Carl, where's that next? Where's the prof?
Ladies.
Good afternoon, everyone. We all have this one life to live. Fleeting shadow amongst all that exists in this vast universe. We have the ability to accomplish anything, truly anything, if we use our time wisely.
Okay. You all have one life. One turn. Make it count. And have fun. Make the correct choices. Implement them. And take every good opportunity that you get. I would like to use the analogy of climbing a ladder to describe our journey. Once you're on that ladder, you're going to meet people. You're going to get opportunities. And you're going to have to make choices. So let's go. Let's get on that ladder. I was born the third son of the most amazing parents. My dad, a humble, quiet man. My mother, a fiery Irish lady, but very kind. And they instilled in us a value system, integrity, humility, gratitude, respect, resilience, and discipline. They were our foundation. And from my grandfather came trust. How often in these days do you hear somebody makes you an offer and a few hours later it's actually not there anymore? So he always said your yes is your yes and your no is your no. And we have lived by that. I was the third son of these amazing people. I have two brothers. The one, a vet, who now lives and farms in Australia. The other is still on the home farm, also farming. And I have a sister. And she married a dairy farmer in Addo. So she's also in farming. And she's been instrumental in growing their dairy business. I grew up on the farm Albert Vale. It's a mixed farming enterprise, dairy, sheep and goats. And my brother and I started farming when we were 3 or 4 years old.
I think you guys all saw the picture on the first slide. That was my dad and his brother making sure the goat drank its milk.
Anyway, just around the corner from there were what we call the Hunderokke. And we farmed there. In that space, this was ons werfdaai. Ons het geboer. Ons het daai honders gedous en alles. It took a long time for me to work out that you actually don't have to dose that much. It's actually not such a good plan. But we had such fun. And then in 1964, Flip, I had to go to school. And I was quite looking forward to this experience because my brothers were ahead of me and I'd gone to school. One day, and I was done. I endured it for another, however long it took for me to matriculate. It was the happiest day of my life. When I could leave school. That was way back 1975. Up to that point in your life, almost all the decisions, choices are made for you. Now you escape from there. Flip, now you have to go to the army, so you're back there and you've now got to listen and you've got to do as you're told and all that stuff. So I went to the army for a year, and then 1977 I thought, okay, now I'm going to do my own thing. I want to farm. And my parents said, no, you're going to study. They relented. They said, okay, for 6 months you can farm with us. 6 months I went to the Bloemfontein Spanners course, and I was slack. You know, if you don't like spanners, don't touch them. I want to be back with my owners and all the sheep and that stuff. Anyway, we did that. 1978, I went to Grootfontein. I made a few good friends there. 1 year, I was out. They didn't like me. 1979, my parents persisted, said, you are going to do a business course, Technicon in PE. Off I went, 1 term. I arrived back home with all my kit. Back. Anyway, they relented. Thank goodness for their friends. They said, well, just leave the cycle, let him farm. Anyway, I got that opportunity and I went to the Klames. How's it, Klames? Groothoek. It was a veerpos near Adelaide. And I had a rondel, probably as big as this. That's where I slept. I had no running water, no toilet, no telephone, no electricity, but I had a ball. Geez, it was the best thing that had ever happened to me. I prioritized the sheep lambing and the goat kidding percentages. And in a very short time, I realized that this is what it's all about. Getting your animals pregnant and then reducing mortalities. I was paid 30 Rand a month, and that was amazing. I played rugby, I played cricket. It was my best time. And then in 1983, my dad sold the farm, and we bought a piece of irrigation at Middleton. The farm was called Malfa. We relocated all the sheep and the goats there, and we did really well until the parasites beat us. Fortunately, in 1986, my parents decided they're going to split our farming partnership, and we all got our share, the 3 boys, and got their share of the dairy cows. Man, I was happy. I could now start dairying. And I started off with 13 cows in milk, a couple of dry cows, and heifers and a few calves. And we phased the sheep and the goats out over 1 or 2 years. Then I got another lucky break. My brother, who was on the home farm, who was the dairyman, decided no, he's stopping dairying, and he gave me a soft loan. Let me buy his cows over a 3-year period, no interest. What a lucky break. And then in 1985, possibly made the most significant choice of my life. Bedford Cricket was short of players, and they asked me to go to Tarkastad with them. At tea time, I saw the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, with a smile to die for. And I said to my mate, old John Wooden, we're not going home until I have plucked up the courage. This shy person plucked up the courage to meet this beautiful girl. Anyway, it took a while, but I got it right. While those Tarkastad bachelors were sleeping, I took this most beautiful girl from under their feet, over the mountain, back to Bedford. I was so happy. In 1988, we got married. 1989, Carl arrived. 1992, Hugh arrived. Hugh's not here, he's in Durban. And in 1994, December 1994, I slipped one past the goalie. And in 1995, Angus arrived. What a blessing. Michelle has been an amazing wife and mother to 3 of the most amazing young men. We are so proud. She is my rock through thick and thin. Still smiling. She is a teacher by trade, but she's developed into an amazing bookkeeper. More than that, she is the captain of our ship. We cannot manage Monterey farming without her. Hugh, our middle son, he's the clever one, says she is our risk manager. Mrs. Doubtfire, when we come with a plan, she says, whoa, whoa, whoa. So, in 1993, we moved all our cows to Bushy Park Farm, and we joined Peter Savage, one of the most amazing guys I've ever met. We were at school together, and I was scrum half and he was fly half, but what a man. So we relocated all our cows to P, and we forgot about our own farm. We were going to grow lucerne there for the PE farm. It didn't work out. But Bushy Park worked out. It was an amazing time of our lives. It gave us so many opportunities. And we met the most amazing people who helped us grow. So on this ladder, you're going up. What I spoke about, the people that you meet. And I just want to say the Alexandria Study Group and its members were amazing. it was an amazing time of our lives. Unfortunately, Peter Savage got killed in a motor car accident, tragically, in 1996. I was devastated. But because of that community of Alex Study Group, and through them, and I'm not going to name anyone, because if I do, yes, it's one of them. But if I do, I would spend the rest of the day here just telling you about how they picked us up, took us forward. And through them, I met Jeff Every. Now, Jeff has touched a lot of your guys' lives. He's probably upset quite a few people because he's direct. But he says it how it is. And he became our, what I call a GPS. You know that thing when you put in your car and they said over 100 meters you turn right and then left and you go the wrong way and it says recalculating. He was that man. He kept us on the right road. He took our farming to a new level. He and his wife, Jane, they were ACS. And I'm so happy to say, ACS, we are still part of ACS. And they support us in farming, in various matters. They're an integral part of our business. And apparently now they're called Pinion. I still call them ACS. Thank you. We are very grateful to you guys. So Jeff got us going again. He said, yeah, there's only one plan at Middleton. You don't have to go there yet. You got to milk cows. And that's where my friends came in. They lent me cows to start milking, because we kept our cows at Bushy Park in that share milk operation, and then they lent me cows. And we started milking in 1997, again at Monterey. An amazing old man, Mike Reed. Forever grateful to him, because he was the manager there and he loved cows. And he took care of that operation. 2005, our share milk agreement at Bushy Park ended and we went back to Monterey. And that's been also an amazing opportunity. It gave us the opportunity to rebuild and then expand our farming operation. We were able to buy as we grew. In 2006, Lawrence, were you there yet? 2006. No, in Middleton, in Golden Valley.
Yeah, we started in 2007.
Remember we started, well, 2006, we started the Alex Study, not the Alex, the Fish River Study Group. And thanks to Philip de Blanche, he took us to Rob Ballantyne on a pasture course, a practical pasture course. Any of you know Rob Ballantyne, he'll tell you dairy farming, sorry Alex, is all about that green stuff. he gave us a practical demonstration on pasture farming and growing grass that forever changed my career in dairy farming. It was unbelievable. And to these two gentlemen, Philip de Blanche, Rob Ballantyne, we are truly grateful. I took this opportunity and chose to implement their management system. Fast forward now, 2016, Carl came back farming after spending a few years, a year in New Zealand, a year in Tasmania. I was probably like my parents. I said, go and learn from the best. And he did. I remember when he came back to the farm in 2016, excuse me, he said to me, Dad, I need a bakkie and a sort gate. Now, we didn't have all these electronic things. We used to sort the cows with a rope and all that. So I said to him, you can't have both. You can only have one. You can choose. And he chose the sort gate. I then knew this guy had his priorities on. And he has taken us, since he's been back with us, from strength to strength. It's been an unbelievable experience farming with this guy. 2019, Cockstadt was a new choice and an opportunity. We tried to save a farmer who was on the brink of liquidation, and we got smoked. But in the 4 months that we were there with him, we realized the potential of East Griqualand. And then it took us another 2 years, so we were out of there. We went out of there like skunks. Back home, could farm with Carl again, but I was always waiting. And in 2021, we got an opportunity to hire Herman Farm. So we started there in October 2021, and then way too quickly, 2022, the next opportunity came, because we were there. It's amazing. When you're in a place, you get the opportunities. If you're not there, you lose. And then we bought a share in a nut farm where the hazelnuts wouldn't pollinate. So they packed up and so we had a blank canvas, and we developed another dairy farm there with our partners John Wallace and Duncan Johnson. Amazing guys. We have 2025, we've expanded our farming operation to maximize our management capabilities at Middleton. You could see he was starting to get bored, so I thought I'd just give him something else, some more to do. And this has been a challenge. We've kind of had to go away from our system. And you'll hear about our system now, because the best way to restock or to stock the new farm was to use the existing farm, and you'll hear about overstocking. Overstocking is probably the worst thing you can do on your farm, except if you like Mark Holliday and know how to feed cows, because that's what you have to do. Anyway, so Michelle and I commute between Cockstad and Middleton, and so that's also a challenge, but we are so happy. So I would just like to summarize this presentation in highlighting a few things. You cannot do this journey on your own. And we are extremely grateful for all the persons who have helped us along this way. So, this is the ladder. And I haven't referred to all of it exactly. But down here, you've got your family and your values. Okay. They've got this ladder anchored for you. And I spoke about the values that my parents imparted on us. So now, you've got this ladder. In the beginning, it's a nice short ladder, so it's not too unstable. It goes up. Have you ever climbed on a ladder and starts doing this? You need at the top there they are, your friends, your neighbors, your teachers, well, I didn't like teachers, except the one I married. Consultants, service providers, milk buyers, organized agriculture, the dance. You need all those guys, and especially your employees in a business. They're the ones that take you up. They secure this ladder for you that you can climb. But you also need this. Passion, enthusiasm, and action. You want to get off your butt. You need to take, and I've spoken about the opportunities we've had because we got on that ladder and we started climbing. You need to take the opportunities and you need to make choices. And you make the choices. It's your life. Remember, it's your life. And you make the choices. And take the opportunities. You need to be patient. And on that ladder, every now and again, you've got to pause. Pick your head up. Have a look around. See what's happening. Connect with the right people. And you need to be resilient. And all the time you're going up this ladder, you need to stay calm. Stay calm. And make the right choices and take your opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to address you. And now I hand you over to Carl.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry. Yeah, pretty difficult to follow my dad, especially after having made a talk like that. Between the MPO and him, they've left me no time, so I hope you guys have a good day. Okay, the Monterey system. So I've been tasked to, and so it's an honor and a privilege to talk about the system because it's been built up by my dad and my mom and the support and all that, and heard all the wonderful things that they've spoken about, but it's been built up over years. And this system is built around some key fundamentals. So before I talk about the actual system, I'd like to just touch on these fundamentals. So these fundamentals are honesty, integrity, respect, discipline. Okay, these core values form the backbone of our system, and they're non-negotiable. Yes, at times it's pretty challenging to stick to those core values. However, there is massive benefit by making sure you do stick to them. Clarity, it must be clear to everyone what the expectation is and what the outcome that is expected. How often do we give out messages and you think the message you've given has been given out clearly, yet you go and find out that what was done was completely different to what the desired outcome was? Buy-in. You've got to be aligned. And your entire team has to buy in towards the desired outcome. Flexibility. Be able to change. Us as dairy farmers know, I've planned to drive cows this morning, wake up, the milk machine's frozen. Instead of milking at 4 o'clock, I'm now milking at 6 o'clock. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to change. And don't get flustered when you need to change, because all your people are looking at you to make the right decision and change. Execution and implementation. You can have the best system on a piece of paper. I'm sure if we go to Rassi Erasmus and we look on his laptop, he's got an amazing system. However, he executed it. And he implemented what his goal was. And he got the buy-in, and there was clarity. So there's a system, an example of putting that all together, executing and implementing your system. So in our system, there's some key aspects. And as I go through this, please guys, please stop me and ask me about the key aspects. If there's something you want to know about some of these key aspects, because this is what our system revolves around. So calving pattern. We're a fully seasonal system. We calve mid-July and we strive for a 12-week in-calf period. This 12-week in-calf period can be adjusted as we have just done in order to have more cows pregnant to stock the new opportunity. However, cow fertility is key if you want to run a fully seasonal system. Don't go that way if your cow fertility is not there. There's no room for passengers when you run a fully seasonal system. If she doesn't get in calf, she has to get on the bus. Don't get caught because you'll go back to your split calving system. So that is in terms of our calving pattern. Our type of cow, we have been breeding crossbred cows, must be over 20 years now. 465 kg cow is what we aim for. She must be able to walk. She must be able to produce milk off grass, and she must get pregnant or she doesn't last. Okay, so that's the type of cow that fits our system. Our stocking rate, this is a key figure, and you can get very caught at times. But too many cows increase feed bought in, and too few cows waste feed. And it's extremely difficult to get the balance, but it's extremely rewarding if you can get that balance. At Monterey, our optimum stocking rate is 3.7 cows per hectare, or 1,700 kgs per hectare. We all run different types of cows, so it was just another figure put there so that if you've got a different size cow to what we have, go and look at what your kgs per hectare are rather than your number of cows per hectare. We also run all our replacements on farm. Okay? Our pasture-based system, the cheapest feed on a farm is the food that you can grow. Can I have some of that water there, please? No? So as my dad found out when he went to Rob Ballantyne, it's all in the green stuff. Therefore, we strive to achieve more than 70% of our feed requirement to be supplied by the pastures. This equates to 19 to 20 tons of dry matter eaten per hectare. Okay? We have a mixed pasture that consists of lucerne, chicory, ryegrass, clover, plantain, oats, kukuyu, kweek, jongilanga. Okay? Anything that the cow will utilize, we let it grow. And we make sure the cow utilizes it. The debate is still out there whether this system is the right way to do it, but we're giving it a go. Our fertilizer strategy revolves around as much quality pasture as cow intake allows. So if we have too much food, we pull back on the fertilizer. Because as soon as you let a contractor on your farm to make silage, you're losing. And if we have too little food, we increase our fertilizer. Our herd health, so I don't know, are there any questions so far? As we've gone along, the next key aspects as we go along is our herd health. Let me find. Okay. As mentioned, cow fertility is key. However, replacement rate, mastitis, lameness. We need to make sure we give our cow the best opportunity to perform at her peak. In our system, her peak is 5,800 litres to 6,000 litres per lactation on 1 to 1.2 tonnes of concentrate and 0.7 tonnes of supplements. And that includes the dry period. Low activity levels, as my dad has always taught me, machinery between the cow and the pasture only costs money. She's the most efficient harvester you'll ever buy. Activity always creates unwanted costs. Human capital. People play a critical role in the execution of our system. We can't do it alone. As much as you'd like to think you can, there's no ways you're going to do it alone. It is important that you understand your team and you make sure you have the right people in the right place. The importance of understanding each member of your team is invaluable. The resources that are available to us at Monterey. We have water, so we are a fully irrigated system. We have height, and we have used height to our advantage by installing solar, which allows us to irrigate using the sun. Our soils, we have soils that produce 20, 21 tons of grass per hectare, but it's for us, it's critical that we maintain the balance of our soils, and we use capital fertilizer as needed. Heat units, although this can become a challenge, the heat units really give us good growth rates in our system. The slurry, it is a valuable resource that is reused in the system. Okay, so there's some of the aspects there, and you think, well, no, just carry on. No, the challenges come along. Because if it was easy, there would be more dairy farmers sitting here. And the challenges that we face is the heat in the summer. It puts our whole system under pressure. All these things that I've mentioned, the heat puts us under pressure. The water quality, our water is not improving. And what effect this will have long term, I'm not sure yet. The future water availability, are we going to continue receiving our allocation? I don't know. Skilled labor, I'm sure a lot of us have had that challenge of trying to find skilled labor to partner us in our businesses. Disease control, foot and mouth, I don't think I need to say any more with regards to disease control. So those are the key aspects to the system at Monterey. However, in order for us to make sure that we are adhering or making sure we look at those aspects, there's certain components that make it work. And the biggest two components here are measure what counts and keep it simple. Okay? Pasture. Our system revolves around measuring pasture once a week. This would be done by myself or the main manager. The pasture information is analyzed through a rotational program, which gives us critical insight and suggestions on how much pasture we should allocate in order to maximize pasture utilization. This time set aside to measure pastures is of the most important on our dairy farm. Prioritize this. Grazings are then checked to make sure that what we are measuring is what the cow is telling us. Often people say to me, well, how can the cow tell you something? If you go and look, she'll tell you something. Measuring what the cow tells us, her production, her butter fat, her protein, these are ways of your cow telling you if she is satisfied or not. And it's critical that you learn how to read this information. Cow health, fertility, somatic cell count, sickness, lameness, these are all telling you the health status of your herd. Luckily, most of these are normally related to management, and they can be corrected and improved on. Wastage, it all adds up. Don't accept wastage in your system. It eats at your profits. Watch your big costs. Concentrate, labor, electricity, repairs and maintenance, fuels, fertilizers. Any little saving on these makes a big, big difference. And then just to finish off, keep the system simple. we always go and we whirring around and we going this way and that way and we say, yeah, this is not our simple system. And we go and relook and we see where we've gone wrong and we take it back to the simple system of cows must eat grass and produce milk off grass. Okay, so that's what I've got for you, and that is the system at Monterey. Before we end off on the system, I'd just like to ask my dad to come up again, because there's one thing about the system that he has taught me, is that you have to be present. And he'll explain to you what forces you to be present. So thank you very much, guys.
We still have time. We're out of time. It's tea time. I'll be quick. Okay. So, you need to
Sorry,
listen.
Henri, this is the most important part.
You need to listen and to hear your cows and your people. You need to touch, you need to smell, you need to feel your farm. Your feet on the soil tells your story. The movement of your cows to and from the parlor tell you a story. How can you report on anything on your farm if you haven't been there? Read your people, give them clarity, train them. Dan spoke about training students, training previously disadvantaged people. It's key, guys. We need to train people. And if you have added value to any person, you can be very proud, because you've bettered somebody else's life. Owners, please remember this. Don't overload your management team beyond his capability until you have taken him to that level. We so often expect too much before we've trained anybody. And support is crucial. Support your team, because they need you. And if you've read a person correctly, you will be able to support him, because some guys actually want you a little bit away from them. Some of them want you right close to them. And with the Cockstad farms, where I'm not there all the time, I'm learning how to support. And please, guys, on your farm, with your employees, they are key. Don't overreact, stay calm, and find out the real story before you blow your top. Thank you very much, everyone.
Just this message sits very close to my dad. And you'll see, as he said earlier, he's got one life. I know a lot of you have probably watched this before, but bear that in mind when you watch this video.
Good afternoon, everyone. We all have this one life to live. A fleeting shadow amongst all that exists in this vast universe. We have the ability to accomplish anything, truly anything, if we use our time wisely. Is this jar full? And is it full now? And how about now? Is the jar full now?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Now, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. Golf balls are the important things, your family, your friends, your health, and your passions. The pebbles are the other important things, your car, your job, your home. And the sand is everything else. It's just the small stuff. Now, if you put the sand in the jar first, you won't have room for the pebbles or the golf balls. And the same is true in life. If you spend all your energy and your time on the small stuff, you won't have time for all the really important things that matter to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Take care of the golf balls first, the really important things. Set your priorities, because everything else is just sand. Yes?
Professor, what does the beer represent?
I'm glad you asked. It goes to show that no matter how full your life may seem to be, there's always room for a couple of beers with a friend.